Sandro Capital really works and he's the best coach.
Hi guys, this is Danjo and today I will announce a very big news, and that is the stock market is crashing. Why is that? Because we're experiencing an extraordinary massive pandemic which could really affect the stock market. Why is that happening? Because we cannot find the cure yet for this virus. So as you know, we're experiencing a massive disease which is the COVID-19 virus, and this virus could really affect a lot of people. So unless we find the right vaccine that could prevent more people to experience this virus or to have this virus, then that's the only time that the stock market will be stable. So right now, looking at the charts and technical analysis per se, because I've told you before, the name of the game is all about trading the charts. The name of the game is all about technical analysis. So I'm doing these kinds of videos because I want to help you. I want to help a lot of Filipinos who are entrepreneurs, who are investors, who are interested in the stock market, and who wants to expand their knowledge when it comes to stock market. So if you've not yet watched my videos, please watch my videos because you will learn a lot regarding basics, advanced, and expert level about the stock market. Now, that being said, moving forward, looking at the charts right now, looking at PSEI, there was a massive decrease yesterday. From 6,028, it became 5,566. Why is that? Because the US economy also was affected. So yesterday, Dow Jones and a lot of index funds in the United States were down. So in short, Philippine Stock Exchange was also affected. Now, be that as it may, looking at the charts, the MACD is showing a neutral spot. So yes, before the day before yesterday, it was on a bullish trend, but right now it's on a neutral spot. We might see that it could potentially go down, so it might form a bearish here, or it may go up and form another bullish. We don't know. We cannot forecast the future. We cannot tell whether it will go bearish or bullish. What we know is that the next support will be, if it will go downwards, this line will go downwards, the next support will be at 5,377 mark. So if this mark is broken, if this support is broken, then there's a high chance that it will go massively down further. But that being said, if the market will go up and break this resistance at around 6,371, showing the moving average 50, then there's a high potential that the stock market will bounce back upwards. So it will form a bullish trend. That being said as well, looking at relative strength index right now, before at April 13, there was a bullish trend, and then there was a bearish, and then there was a neutral spot. That being said, people are still unsure, and investors don't like uncertainty. Investors are doing calculated risks. That's why I'm telling you this, because I want you to not risk and give all your money and make it like a money pit. So be that as it may, if you're looking at the charts and looking at technical analysis per se, the market is still not stable today. But if you're a long-term investor, listen to this. If you're not a day trader, if you're a long-term investor, because a lot of stock investors earn a lot more in investing instead of trading. So if you're a long-term investor per se, then this is the right chance to buy. Why? Because I'm very sure that there will be a vaccine coming in the future, or a cure for this virus. And when that vaccine or cure is already here, then it will be so massive. It will definitely affect the growth of the stock market. It will definitely stop this trend of going downwards. But until now, there's still no cure or vaccine. So it's still up to you. If you follow your strategies, if you follow your principles, if you look at the trends, the indicators, and you still think that this is the right time to buy, then do so. Don't stop yourself. But if you only have little income coming or going to the stock market, then I suggest you have to wait first for the market to be stable. But if you have the cash flow, the income coming, and you have extra cash, then go invest in the stock market, because I'm very sure 5 or 10 years from now your money will double. Why? Because the stock market will always bounce back. This already happened before a lot of times, recession, black swan, but the stock market will always go back. But it also depends on the stock. So what are the best stocks to buy during a pandemic or market crash? Okay, I will tell you the blue chips company. First is Jollibee. If you all know, Jollibee is one of the best blue chip company, and I have a video explaining why Jollibee is one of the best. If you don't know, Jollibee has a lot of branches including in China, and that's where they get their expenditures. Most of their expenditures, I mean their net income. Now, most of their expenditures right now are using a lot of deliveries because there's a lockdown, so they have to deliver the foods, and they also cut a lot of their delivery man, so they just limited the number of their delivery man to perform those deliveries. That being said, their operations costs and expenditures are massively down compared to before, because Jollibee is a very, very wise company. They know what they're doing. So they cut their operating costs, they cut their expenditures to maximize their gains, and in short, to leverage their net income. Now, that being said as well, looking at the charts of Jollibee right now, there's still an uncertainty. Looking at MACD, before there was a bullish here, but right now it's trying to form a neutral. But we don't know until the end of the day, or EOD, end of the day order. We cannot predict the market right now. That being said, looking at MA50, there's still a bearish. Looking at MA20, there's still a bearish. Looking at also MA9, there's still a bearish. So, that being said, Jollibee right now, day trading perspective, it's still not that great to buy. But if you're a long-term investor, if you're gonna wait 5 or 10 years, this will surely recover. And I'm sure of that. Even though they have competitors in the United States because they own Smash Burgers, they can still find a great marketing strategy to beat that company. That being said, if you look at SM right now, let's check SM Prime Holdings. So if we check SM Prime Holdings right now, looking at the charts, the MACD is also the same, and also the relative strength index. What's interesting in SM Prime Holdings is that the support right now is being broken. Look at this. The support at 30.38 mark is trying to be broken. So if this next candle will be below 29.73 and will go below 28.73, then there's a high chance that SM Prime Holdings will go down massively. But if this candle will go upwards and break this next resistance at around 32.46 mark, and then the next is 35.12 mark, then it will go uptrend. So it really depends on your strategy. It really depends on what is your goal. Okay, looking at SM as well, let's try to look SM. Just to show you guys. It's on a 843 mark. So the next support will be at 820.40 if this market will go downwards. So if SM will go downwards further, then there's a high chance that it will continue to go downwards. But if the next candle will go and break this next resistance at around 875.10 mark, then there's also a high chance that it will go further upwards and form a bullish trend. So it really depends. There's still no bullish crossover up to now. There's still no indicators in the MACD that's showing that it's going bullish, or in the relative strength index. But we know right now, reading the technical analysis per se, is that there's still an uncertainty. There's still a lot of risk when investing right now, especially if you're a day trader. But if you're a long-term investor, there's few to none risk, because we know that SM will always be back. Looking at the forecasting of SM before, look at that uptrend. So from here it went, look at this, from here it went there. So from 599 it went 1050 in a lot of years. Actually, this is just in 5 years. So 2015 to 2020, That's a lot of increase from SM, because SM is a very big company, and it's composing the 20 index fund that you can find in the index fund. So the 20 companies that you can find in index fund, SM is one of them, and also SM Prime Holdings, BDO, Ayala Land. And comparing SM to Ayala Land, SM has actually better increase looking at the charts, because 2015 to 2020, SM massively increased compared to Ayala Corporation and Ayala Land. That being said as well, if you're a long-term investor right now, it is the best time to buy right now. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, guys, I suggest you click the like button and the subscribe button, because it will highly affect my sales channel. And also, I would like to help you more, because I care for you, I value you, and I want to help a lot of Filipinos, entrepreneurs, investors to expand their knowledge regarding the stock market. Not only that, but also a lot of other trading platforms that they can use to maximize their profit. Now let's see BDO. Just to give you an idea of their numbers, at 2018, they were 37.2 billion of net income. But you know what? On 2019, their net income became 44.2 billion. Their net income massively increased. Just look at the charts. Before it was here, I'm gonna show you. Before it was here, look at that uptrend coming from BDO. Look at that uptrend. That is massively huge. And looking at the charts today, because we want to focus today, now's today's market. Looking at the relative strength index, it is on a neutral spot. Looking at MACD, it's still on a bearish. Looking at the 3 moving averages, 50, 20, and 9, it is still bearish. Now, if we look at the charts right now using technical analysis, if the next resistance at 117 mark is broken down, then there's a high chance that it can break this next resistance. So the next resistance will be at 126.64. Now, if this resistance is been broken, then this is the new support. Now, looking also another potential that this candle can go downwards, this will be the next support. So 103.10 mark. Now, if this candle goes downward again and breaks this support at 103, then there's another chance that it will go downwards, just like before. So it could potentially go at around 95.70 mark. That being said, we're still not certain. So you gotta look at this mark at 103 and 92. If these spots were broken down, then there's a high chance that there will be a massively decrease when it comes to BDO stocks. Now, looking at the charts, if this candle went up and break this next resistance here, and then break this another resistance here at 125 mark, then there will be a chance that BDO will go massively uptrend. So that being said, if we check another bank, let's say BPI, let's see BPI if what they're doing when it comes to stock market. So looking at BPI right now, the stocks of BPI is trying to move an uptrend. Looking at the charts, and at the end of the day order today, look at it. It's trying to beat the previous candle. So before, yesterday, it was 57.88. It closed that day. Right now, it's 61.21. So it means that looking at MACD, it's still on a neutral spot, and also RSI, and the trend is also bearish. Looking at MA9, MA20, and MA50, it signifies a bearish trend. Now, if you didn't know, BPI has a net worth right now of 55 billion pesos, and most of its stocks are from the loans, okay? Actually, if you didn't know, the loans of BPI increased by 11%, and that is very massive. Looking at the charts, technical analysis, it says that the next support will be at around 72 mark. So if BPI can increase the next candle up to the 62 mark, okay, and then it increased to 71.20 mark, then there's a high chance that it will go uptrend from that day. So, be that as it may, if BPI cannot continue to go up and it will go down, if BPI will continue to go downwards, the next support will be at 57.88 mark. And then if BPI cannot sustain this support at 57.88, then there's a high chance that it will go lower further. So you will have to look at this line, 71 mark, and the support is 58.71. So look at the next day. If the candle can break this resistance, then this will be the new support at this mark. And if the support cannot be sustained here and it will go lower, then there's a chance it will go lower further. So you have to watch that out. Now look at the next support. Okay, the next support will be here and the next support will be here if it will go further downtrend. Now looking at technical analysis per se, there's still no sign of bullish crossover. The trends are still bearish. Everything is still bearish. So if you're investing in BPI right now, I suggest you have to wait first if you're a day trader. But if you're a long-term investor, you can buy already today because I have mentioned before, the market will surely recover. Now let's see Ayala Corporation, because Ayala Corporation is one of the best stocks that you can buy, and also Ayala Land, and we will discuss that later. Looking at MACD, it's starting to form an uptrend. Okay, so the market closed today. Actually, it's good. It's 597. Before, it's 564. So the market is going upwards. Why? Because I think it's because of the what happened to the BSP. So there's an issue with the BSP, and they try to resolve it to preserve the economy, to sustain our economy, and that's one of the possible cause why most stocks today are actually increasing. Now, be that as it may, if you look at the MACD line, it's starting to form an uptrend, and the relative strength index is starting to move upwards. Look at that line from neutral, it's starting to form upwards. Now, if this continues, if the next support will be at around 557 mark. So if Ayala Corporation the next day didn't go down at this mark at 557, then there's a high chance that it will just sustain and just move upwards to beat the next resistance. So the next resistance will be at 635 mark, and then the next resistance after that is around 687 mark. So if one can beat these two resistance, then there's a high chance that it will go uptrend massively. Now, be that as it may, if Ayala Corporation will still continue to beat the next resistance, then this will be the new support, and then you have to memorize this mark, 648, or it will go lower of 554. You have to memorize that mark, because if tomorrow it will beat this 554, then there's a high chance that it will go lower and the support will not be sustained. Now, that being said, let's move forward to Ayala Land. If you look at the charts of Ayala Land, it's starting to form a neutral MACD. So it means that from a bullish, it's starting to form a neutral spot. So there's still uncertainty. People are still uncertain because Ayala Land there are a lot of people who are not trying to buy lands today because it is a crisis. So there's a high possibility that Ayala Land will just not be moving upwards nowadays. But after the lockdown ends, maybe in the future, people will likely buy lands or invest in real estate. Be that as it may, that being said, looking at the charts and fundamental analysis and technical analysis, there's a high possibility that the next support will be at here. So it's 29.22 and then at 23.56 mark. So if Ayala Land can sustain this next support the next day, then there's a high chance that it will go upwards, which is here. So if Ayala Land can break this resistance, 37.09, then that's the only time that it can massively go upwards. But if it cannot break this resistance at 37.90, then it will just be neutral, moving down, moving up, but not that massive, unless it breaks this next resistance, which will be the new support. But right now, as you can see, the next support will be 28.22. So as long as 31.70 siya, it's still not breaking the next resistance or the next support a 28.55 mark, then you're just cool with this. So you just have to wait. But if the market break this next support, which is at this level, then there's a high possibility that it will go downwards further. Now, if you're planning to invest long term, I suggest you invest right now. And also, please remember that you need food for your family. You need the cash for your family. So make sure you prioritize your expenses first to your family, because we will know if the lockdown will extend further or it will end someday right now. But what we know is there's still no vaccine, there's still no cure for this virus, and it may very affect our lives. It will affect a lot of Filipinos. It will affect the whole world per se. And we need to save and just wait for the market to be stable. So that's it, guys. Have a great day. I super appreciate it, guys, if you will share this to your friends, to those people who want to learn about stocks. And please like and subscribe my channel. Cheers, Capital Master.